Okay, there's the first angle theorem. Sorry, you guys watching at home, but yeah, you can copy that down. Everyone all good in here then that are seeing this live? Okay, let's go to the next one then. How's the next theorem come into play? Whoa, before I do that though, not going to be that easy. Let me get rid of this. Let me put 4 angles up here now so I can describe to you how this next theorem works. Angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, and angle 4. All right, here's what I'm going to tell you right now. Ready? Angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary. Angle 3 and angle 4 are complementary. So right away, do I have any angles that are complementary to the same one? No. So that new theorem we just did means absolutely nothing. But I am going to tell you one more given, that 1 and 3 are congruent. Okay, 1 and 3 are congruent. So I want to see if we can come up with a conclusion right now. Grace, give me an angle measure for 1. 50. Oh, that's original. Here we go. Zach, that means angle 2 would be, if they're complementary, 40. We've got a comedian in the house. I'm the only one with the pen. Bella, what about angle 3 based on the givens? It is also 50. Meaning angle 4, Ava's got to be 40. So what can you tell me about angles 2 and 4? Are they complementary? No, but they are congruent. So now, they're not congruent because they're complementary to the same angle. Everyone agree with that? Are 2 and 4 complementary to the same angle? No, they're complementary to 2 different ones, 1 and 3. So why in the world are they congruent? Ready? Our last theorem dealing with complementary angles. 2 angles, where do they go here? Angle 2 and 4. They're both complementary to 1 and 3. They're not complementary to the same angle, but they are complementary to congruent angles. Okay, so here's what the theorem says. Complements of congruent angles are congruent. So 2 and 4 again. Here you go, Faith. 2 and 4. What's 2 supplementary? 2 is complementary to?
Well, 2 is complementary to 1.
And 4 is complementary to? And what do you know about 1 and 3? Are they the same angle? They're not the same angle, but they are congruent. That's the difference between these 2 theorems. One is complementary to the same angle. The other one says they're complementary to congruent angles. We see that. Okay, let's apply it into a proof now. I'd like you to mark your diagram for me, please. Mark your diagram. Write your givens in. Oh, they're already in there. You're welcome. I'm still a little bit nervous that we can't find certain angles and mark them congruent. Make sure you're looking at the givens, not the proof statement. Please don't mark the proof angles congruent. Good, good. Okay, looking good, looking good. I saw people put some certain symbols on there for me. Who's got 1? Who? AC perpendicular to BE. What do you want me to put on here?
Right angle.
Where? Name the angle you want me to put it. Good. I can also put it over on this side if I wanted to, right? And then they tell me those 2 angles are congruent. Now, I realize many of you might use subtraction here. You agree? To get these 2 angles congruent? You could use subtract, right? Right angles minus the given angles give you the ones I need to prove. So you could use subtraction. I don't want to do that now, but if you are faced on a test, quiz, or homework, you can do it any way you want. I don't care. That's the freedom you get with doing these proofs. Yes, you could do the subtraction, but I want to show you how to implement this new theorem. Okay, so moving on. Next question for somebody. Who's got 10? Here we go, Haley. I know that's a right angle, meaning these 2 angles add to what? Which make them what? Complementary. Everyone agree with Haley? They make them complementary. Same thing on the other side. I add these 2 angles together, I get 90, so that makes these 2 angles complementary. Good? All right. Last question here to try to pull it home. These two angles that I'm trying to prove congruent, are they complementary to the same angle or to two congruent angles? Do you see which theorem we're going to use now? Boom, complements of congruent angles. Oh, there's a lot we got to write, though, before we get to that point. If you're going to use one of these theorems, what did I have you guys write down? You have to tell me the pairs of complementary angles. But there's even something I got to do before that. Because if you write down these two angles are complementary, true, what's going to be your reason? They form what? These two angles form? Complementary angles form a right angle. Did I ever say anything in my proof about having right angles? I put it in my diagram, but that's not good enough. So you need to tell me where the right angles are now. If you're going to use it in a reason, if you're going to mention right angles in your reason, you got to tell me in your statements before you do that. So here we go. Name the two right angles for me right now. Name them. Two. Name the right angles. And angle EBC are right angles. Yep. Why, Ellie? You guys are picking this up now. It's all practice. Now, if you want to tell me they're congruent, go right ahead. Is it needed in this proof? No, because I'm not subtracting. All right. Now that I know these form right angles, what type of angles are those two? And what type of angles are those two? Let's write it down. So angle ABF and angle FBE are complementary. And you can do the other pair right in the same statement because it's going to be the same reason. So instead of doing two separate statements with the same reason, just plug it all into one. And let's go on the other side. Angle EBD and angle, what do we got? EBD, DBC are complementary. Now, I'm going to be pretty flexible with what you put as a reason here. How do I know they're complementary? Go ahead, Alyssa. Not necessarily. They're actually supplementary if you say it like that, right? How about complementary angles? Okay, I'm okay with that. Anybody want to put something else? There's only one thing I would not be flexible with, and that is definition of complementary angles. You're saying they're complementary, then you're saying definition. You know what that's like? That's like Grace, me asking, hey, Grace, why is that a chair you're sitting on? And she goes, oh, that's the definition of a chair. That tells you nothing, correct? So because you're telling me they're complementary, don't tell me definition of complementary. It tells me nothing. What you can say is, though, yes, complementary angles form right angles. That's fine. You could tell me complementary angles add to 90. All right. Because you've already mentioned the right angles. Okay, now I got the complementary angles. What do we know? ABF and DBC, are they complementary to the same one or to congruent ones? Okay, we're done. Angle ABF is congruent to angle DBC. Make sure we get the correct theorem down, and that is complements of congruent angles. Yep. Are congruent. So let's look at every. Go ahead, Bella. Are you going chopping down some trees there with your fellow lumberjacks after class? But go ahead, keep going. Or maybe I'll go with the picnic later on and use your shirt there as a tablecloth. Go ahead, keep going. I'm listening.
So why do you not have to say that EBC and EBA are congruent?
It's not needed. Why do I need them congruent?
Because complements of equal.
Yeah, here are my congruent ones that they're complementary to.
Oh, okay.
I already have those right here. They're not complementary to the right angles. These angles are complementary to those two given congruent angles.
Okay.
See that?
Yeah.
Now, if you wrote that the right angles were congruent, it's an extra step that's not needed, and I will never take off for that, unless it's just as long as it's correct. Okay, we all good? How do you feel about these? Because all I'm doing now is going to go from 90 to 180. and change the word complement to supplementary. All right. So I'll give you a minute. Write down your givens. I don't think there's not anything to mark here because there's no markings for supplementary. So too harsh there, Bella? Did I come too strong?
No.
Okay, I came 2 in a row too, so
Yeah.
some people can't handle that.
I just wasn't sure when you were gonna cease the jokes about my beautiful red shirt. So I asked my question.
I guess we have 2 different definitions of beautiful, huh? That's fine. Hey, nothing wrong with being part of the Lumberjack Society. Built some awesome log cabins. Got little Paul Bunyan in the class. Okay, well, I see the word supplementary, so probably going to involve supplementary theorems. Look at your givens, please. 1 is supplementary to 3, and 2 is supplementary to 3. And we're trying to prove 1 and 2 congruent. Well, look at your givens right now. What can you tell me about angles 1 and not the diagram? Look at the givens. What can you tell me about angles 1 and 2? 6, what can you tell me? No 6 today? Or just not speaking up? Okay. What? You're 6? Okay, that's all I needed to know here. Mike, I would like you to look at the givens, please. What can you tell me about angles 1 and 2? I'm asking you to look at the givens and read it to me. To what? Angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary to? Are supplementary to what? The same angle? So just like complements, what should I know about 2 angles that are supplementary to the same angle? Are they? 1 congruent to 2, because again, why, Mike? Supplements of the same angle are, everyone see that theorem right now? Same as complements. Both 1 and 2 are both supplement to the same angle. Oh, geez, we forgot. Oh, I'm not allowed to write that down unless I tell you which pairs are supplementary. Yes? Oh, it's given. Okay. Supplements of the same angle are congruent. Hold on, one last thing. How many of you need to get a little self-respect tonight because you put an I instead of an E? Look into that as part of your homework tonight. Okay, self-respect. Go on Amazon. Maybe you can buy some. All right, or maybe eBay. Get it cheap, or maybe a used self-respect.